Welcome back to another episode of Offbeat Adventures. We're standing here once again on the grade of the former Grand Trunk Pacific Railway and later Canadian National Railway's Graham subdivision. We are on the west side of this road, which is known as the Sunshine Crossroads. We are nearby to a small little community, I guess dot on the map, which is Sunshine, Ontario, which is northwest of the city of Thunder Bay. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be picking up from the west side of this road. We were actually supposed to have done the other portion yesterday, but it rained all day, so unfortunately we were able to do that. Both of these are redos, so I've been through this area before. As we mentioned in the we will be mentioning in the next the previous segment that we're going to be doing, you do need a permit to go on this section here. So it is owned by a forest management company called Wagner, so you have to go online and get a permit. So basically we're going to be working our way from the Sunshine Crossroads here, just under 3 miles to the west. Scared me for a second. I was wondering what that sound was, but it's a car. To the next road crossing, which is known as Ellis Road, and in the process we're going to be passing Ellis Station. Okay, so before we get going, we're gonna see these in the on the other side of the road. There's a big pile of them. So we got some nice iron blueberries here. So these are, hopefully you can see them on the camera. These are iron ore pellets, and they're scattered all over the place here because one of the big commodities through here in the years before it was shut down was iron ore. There was a mine. There were several mines, but probably the most notable one was the Matabi mine, which was sort of southeast of Sioux Lookout, close to where Valora Station was located, near a place called Silver Dollar. And so they were hauling a lot of iron out of there. All right, let's get rolling here. So unfortunately, it is kind of a, I don't want to complain, because we had kind of a very miserable week. It rained almost every day this past week, right? Kind of not even really heavy rain, just kind of off and on. It rained yesterday. Everything's all wet in the bush. The sun is out, which is nice, but the problem is that as you can see, it creates a lot of shadows and makes things very difficult. And then, as I mentioned, the bush is all wet. Like, I'm filthy from going down and having a look at at a few things. So our first point of interest is going to be coming up momentarily here. You can see that we're up on a very, very high embankment here, and basically what's happening here is there's a major river just to the south of us. We're going to see it a little bit. Do we see that river, or do we see the creek? I don't know. I have to look on a map. But basically, there's a major river just to the south of us, the Matawan River, which this railway line crosses a little further to the east, and it kind of ties in with our story of this railway line. So you have all these tributaries that are sort of flowing through the area. I think it's the creek that we see later on, if I'm not mistaken. And so again, you have all these tributaries, and some of them are big, some of them are small, and so you end up with these really, really high embankments, and then obviously with creeks at the bottom of them. So this is one of the more notable ones, and for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's very, very high, and second of all, I think when I was here 4 years ago, so again, this, as I mentioned, this is a redo. So the creek is way down there. I think when I was here, I measured 60 feet. This side, the south side, is 60 feet down. And what we have is we have a very, very unique culvert. There's a handful of these culverts on the line. There's a bunch that are closer to Thunder Bay. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop down and have a look at that. Okay, so we are down at the level of the creek. We are approximately 55 feet below the level of the grade, which is a substantial distance. And so we're on the south side of the grade. And so you can see here, kind of from a distance, I can't get very close because the water is fairly deep here, but you can see the concrete culvert in the distance. And so what we're going to do is we're going to work our way a little bit closer and try to get a little bit of a closer look, closer angle of the culvert. All right, so we are just directly beside the culvert here. And again, this is about as close as we can get. And so you can see the date stamp, the 1917 date stamp, that is synonymous with these culverts. And we've taken a look at a few other of these culverts further to the east, closer to Thunder Bay. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to jump over onto the north side and take a look from there. Okay, so we're down here at the level of the creek on the north side, and you can see, probably judging by the appearance as I look to the north here, that it's not a good situation. You can see there's a beaver dam here, and the culvert, as I stand up on top of this pile of wood, is just completely buried in debris. You can see that there's probably over the years a number of floods and washouts. You can see a bit of the date stamp there obscured behind this big huge timber. You can see part of the collar here of the culvert as I carefully work my way down. You can see a good chunk of this culvert has been exposed due to erosion. Again, we are like 55, 60 feet below the grade. So this is a huge, huge embankment. And I'm going to jump over to the other side and see if we can get a different view from the northwest corner. All right, so we're over on the northwest corner, and you can see the damage that's been done here. I would say probably at least 15 to 20 feet of this culvert's been exposed. A big chunk of it's blown out. And what's interesting, I've heard that this was a very common thing to do. As I work my way in here carefully, notice the rail. They used a piece of rail, lengths of rail, as a reinforcement here for the roof of this structure. Really, really neat thing to see. Okay, so we've seen about as much as we can see, and so we're gonna work our way back up to the grade and continue working west. All right, so we're just a short distance away from the culvert, which is just to their east over in the trees there. And so what we found here is kind of a neat thing. We found a telegraph pole with a good chunk of its insulators still attached to it. You can see these ones here. These are the very common Dominion 42s, I believe. Again, I'm not a collector of these things, so I have no idea. There looks like there's a couple unusual ones here. These are Grand Trunk ones with the GTP initial on it. And I don't know what these ones are here. They look kind of different. The color is different. It looks like a kind of a Dominion 42, but it's kind of got a color to it. But I don't know if that's just been sitting here for a long time. So again, kind of a neat little find. So we're going to continue pushing our way westward along the grade.